I am the evil part of your brain. You can't beat me, because you are the one who forced me into being. A game that inspires a fandom is a game that succeeds later in life. It might succeed in its early life, but in the terms of the game we're talking about today, it unfortunately suffered from the beginning. A game that leads adulthood into childhood, and childhood into adulthood. That game is Earthbound, released for the Super Nintendo in North America on June 5th, 1995. Earthbound is a story about a boy named Ness and how he and 3 other chosen kids stop an alien from taking over the world using the power of friendship and love. Back when the game was released in 1995, it was a total flop because of the subpar marketing it had, with multiple game critics at the time calling it childish and bad because of its more simplistic design. The fans for this game are so invested in the series that the first fans made an entire website to honor the game and post their thoughts. So if Earthbound had a horrible launch, what has caused it to stand the test of time? That's what I'm here to answer today. This review will be split into 4 different topics to help answer this question. To start, I would like to share a quote from Sugar Conroy, a renowned YouTuber and one who played Earthbound during his childhood. He did a Let's Play of Earthbound in October of 2018. This quote comes from episode 57, the finale of the main story of Earthbound. This whole thing has been one great big appreciation about how special and how unique and how timeless of a piece Earthbound is. I've given you multiple reasons as why I believe this is everything from the visual style making it still look great today, to the writing feeling like it was made at another time. But I think there's more. There's the fact that Earthbound is about life. It understands not only the good, having a great sense of humor, just funny things you can't believe just happened to you, material for stories that you're going to want to tell people, all sorts of strange things surrounding you, and everything feeling larger than life. It feels like childhood, and that's because it also remembers the bad things. We have 4 heroes who come from very non-conventional families. Ness has a working father who is always absent, and he never gets to spend any time with him, being raised by just his mother and, maybe a little more than he realizes, also his little sister. Paula has parents who run a business out of their home, and her life is definitely different from most kids because of that. Jeff has an unhealthy relationship with his father, goes to boarding school, and his mom is never mentioned at all in the story. And then Pooh is royalty. Expectations are placed on him and being very different from all the others, and it's not even just our 4 heroes. Beyond that, we've seen very violent concepts, themes of child abuse and neglect. It isn't just the zany fuzzy pickles. It understands having a sense of humor in the face of the bad things. It understands when you're uncertain. It understands when you're scared. From the quote, we can see the most repeated parts are about the game's humor and how wacky and funny this game really is. There's a wide variety of humor, but it all boils down to the type of humor and culture. The game gives us this childish, almost slapstick style of humor. As I said in the intro, the game failed at launch because of its horrible marketing. When this game appeared in the magazine titled Nintendo Power, it was supposed to highlight the game and show how funny the game would be. These 2 pages really did not help the game in any way though. From the constant mention of how the game quote-unquote stinks, how it's all about eating pizza and having a great time with your friends, and worst of all, there being a giant fart joke in the middle of the page. This screams lowbrow culture, which, in the book we have in class, basically views activities we do in everyday life, like art, music, and entertainment, as less sophisticated. The marketing showed the game in its purest form though. The game had all the fart, dad, and all-around bad jokes, just like the Nintendo Power magazine said it would have. But the fans of the game loved this type of humor so much that it's what made the game for them. To them, it was like Earthbound's own special style of humor. I found a Reddit thread that has exactly what I'm talking about. Almost all of Earthbound's appeal is in its unique setting and quirky humor. The game is fine, it's the world and characters and story bits that are the hooks. If anything, things such as enemies named New Age Retro Hippie don't make you smile. It's not your type of game. End quote. People find refuge in the game's funny humor and how the characters interact with the environment around them. This causes fans to make ties to their own life, as we can see with a forum post from starman.net titled "Earthbound equals my childhood life." The quote from Sugar Conroy directly shows how fans make meaning out of the depth that gives the game this childlike feeling. This is something clearly evident in the starman.net forum post by Henry Midfields from 2006. The post is titled "Earthbound equals my childhood life." They talk about how hard it was to move from place to place and how he reflected on the characters of Earthbound in his own life. He gave these characters meaning based on the actions in his own life. He saw himself as Ness, with him having bullies and friends scattered all around the world. This is Henry giving his childhood meaning through the game. He noticed all of the same qualities in himself that the main character is built on, and bonded with those. But with how the main character, Ness, never talks in the game, this allows people to dive deeper, not just into the main character, but also the most minor of story beats, as we can see from a video from the Game Theory channel. The game's characters and themes are something that the fans really like to look into when discussing how this game has stood the test of time. The characters, as stated in the quote, are so similar yet so different. Almost all the characters have the similarity of coming from dysfunctional households, but are so different in the reasons that it is a dysfunctional household. Looking at Earthbound's story, fans have done deep dives into the game's lore with many other theories and fanfictions. But when it comes to theories, there's only one channel to turn to. All the way back in 2011, MatPat from Game Theory did a deep dive into the story of Earthbound. He stated in the beginning of the video that he is a huge fan and considers this his favorite video game ever. The video explains multiple mature themes that are in the game when expanded research is done on what the game is actually trying to portray. One big example that they use in the video is centered around the game's cult, which takes place roughly 2 to 3 hours into the game. The Happy Happyism cult in the game is heavily theorized to be based on a cult from our real world. This cult was founded in Japan in 1984 and has a variety of similarities to the Happy Happyism cult from Earthbound. The similarities can be seen in the group's colors, which are a dark shade of purple or blue. Another similarity is the group's tone, being very happy and cheery, which can be seen in Earthbound when talking to some of the local residents of the town. One last similarity can be seen in where the group took refuge. Both groups were in a small town outside of a big city. With how big a fan MatPat is of Earthbound, he spoke highly of the game and believed that there's always more to uncover about it. The fans of the game love coming up with theories so much, but why? I believe it is to uncover this authentic feel that these games have, and this is what has kept the game alive for so long. Once again, going back to the quote from Sugar Conroy, he talks about how the characters of Earthbound live these not-so-great lives, and we compared that to the forum post from starman.net. But this is also a great example of the search for authenticity in the game's characters and in the story. The game doesn't just show all the happy parts of childhood. Through the search for deeper meaning, people have found examples of child abuse, neglect, greed, and even genuine fear from the main character. The search for reality in this game is so prevalent that many other creators and fans have made content on their findings and their search for the authenticity in Earthbound. One such YouTuber, who goes by the name Chargy, came up with a conclusion that I believe sums up why Earthbound is such an authentic game. He concludes his video by saying this, quote, "What made Earthbound so different? I think the conclusion that I finally came up with after all this time is the fact that Earthbound does not care. It doesn't care if it's being stupid. It doesn't care if it's being corny. It doesn't care if it's being cliche. And every single moment, every single thing Earthbound does, it does with 100% certainty. This game is so unapologetically corny, so unapologetically quirky, and stupid and fun, and I think I understand why this series is so beloved by so many people." End quote. As Chargy puts it, the fact that Earthbound does not care at all makes it feel so real. All the corny and cringeworthy things in Earthbound make it feel so authentic. We can even tie this back to the marketing. With how childish the marketing seemed at the time, this just shows, even from the beginning, that Earthbound did not care. It was just being itself. To gather my last thoughts, I want to turn back to Sugar Conroy's quote. He ends the quote with that the game understands when you're scared. I see this as another point from the game being real, as getting psychologically scared in a video game from this time was unheard of. Sugar Conroy says this right before the final boss fight in Earthbound. The boss fight takes place at the end of time, which is visualized as this gray cliff-faced area in one singular cave. Knowing that the final boss lies in the cave, you have no idea what you're about to face. All you know is how powerful a foe you will be facing with the prior knowledge from the game. In my final thoughts on Earthbound and its longevity, I believe that Earthbound has been able to last the test of time because of its impeccable humor and culture, making it so unique and engaging, how people make meaning with the themes and characters, and how they attach themselves to said characters and live through the game, the fans and the theorists who search deep in the game's story for hidden implications and to learn what is actually going on in this adventure. And finally, the authenticity of it all. Because Earthbound is the way it is, it makes every piece of this story feel like it would happen in a world just like ours. Earthbound is a rare case of a game appealing to all audiences of role-playing gamers, because of how real this game feels in every section I've talked about. This game will last the test of time, and I am 100% confident in that.